Hi everyone, welcome to the last layout for Spend Less, Scrap More using the Hip Hop Hooray collection from Simple Stories. What you see on the screen is literally what I have left to use, and I'm going to be honest, I was a little worried. So I went through a lot of sketches and I tried to find something that had smaller pieces. So you can see I'm using this free sketch again from Scrapbook Generation. I love their sketches. This one was a lifesaver. There are a couple of spots where I'm going to have to kind of rig, I guess you could say, how the papers go together because I want to use those floral strips. I don't think I cut them at this point, but my photos are also a little weird. I actually end up cutting things kind of wrong, so you will see how I fix that. But the photos that I'm using are ones that I ordered a long time ago from Amazon Photos. And when you order from Amazon Photos, they have an option to have like real size photos for phone photos, and they're not 4x6, they're like 4.53 or something by almost 6. So I had a ton of photos. I didn't want to worry about cropping. This was before I was getting better about ordering photos a little more frequently and staying up on editing photos. And I don't really edit them a lot, but when I say editing, I mean deleting the ones that I don't want. So I had like 500-600 of them that I just needed ordered. I just wanted them ordered and sent. So I haven't used a lot of them. So far, it doesn't seem to be too bad with not having the full 4x6, but you can see here that I've kind of cut them wrong. I don't know what I was doing. I thought I had it figured out, but apparently I didn't, but I'm going to make it work. So I'm going to start on the very left-hand side, and their sketch calls for everything to be lined up completely on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. But I'm going to add a little bit of space between that. I figured if it didn't work or I didn't cut them right, I could always trim down the entire layout and mat it on, a colored cardstock. So I'm going to start on the left, and it's about 1/8 of an inch of space between the side and the rest of the layout. I am inking my edges with the gray ink again, and I didn't add the top of that floral one until I knew the height to put it at. So I figured what I would do is add this striped one next, and I just kind of thought working from one side to the other, I could fix things as I went along, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to add the stripe on there, just trying to make sure that I got it straight. And I think there is a little bit of space between the striped one and the floral one too, but it doesn't look like it in the video, but I'm pretty sure there is. I'm pretty sure I put a space in between each one of these. So got those on there and decided to go ahead and start working my way over. It was a little hard to decide what papers to put where. I ended up not liking that plaid one that was the opposite side of the blue one as much as I thought that I would like it, but I do end up using some of it on this layout simply because it brought in another design and didn't just leave everything the striped, the floral, and the blue. So there's that photo that's not a full 4x6. So I thought that I had cut a paper to go below it here, but somehow I cut these completely wrong, and I'm trying to decide what to do because that's all I have left is what you see there. And I knew I needed to make this work somehow, so I'm going to make it work. I decided to use this bigger one and just trim off a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down on the blue side, and that one luckily fit perfectly. I would have probably been pretty upset if I would have cut it. Now these other ones I'm going to have to play with just a little bit here. I wasn't sure. I thought about cutting this striped one down again to put there, but again, I didn't want the whole layout to be just the stripe, the blue, and the floral. It just didn't seem to look very good to me. Oh, I did have that little box of scraps there. That's right. So I pulled that over, and I think I end up having a long enough one of the floral to use. Either that or I used the stripe one along the side. So I just trimmed these two up to line up with each other. And again, I'm inking the edges, and I am going to use the plaid there. And then I just need a smaller box to go along the bottom. And I was a little worried that it was going to be a little too busy or wonky looking at this point. But it ends up being, actually, I really love the way this layout looks. So I was super happy with it. And here's where I found the floral. I must have cut it down at some point because I didn't know I had that much of the floral left. But I'm going to go ahead and I just kind of layer the same thing. I do the same thing with this side that I did the other side. I just found out how long I needed it. And this one kind of overlaps, I think, just a hair on the other one, but I don't care. It all, in the end, you don't really notice. Actually, as I build this layout, I kind of even forget that I had those two spots that I wanted to cover up were the floral. I was thinking in my mind the whole time, I can just cover these up. Nobody will ever know. And I actually forget, so I kind of go back and fix that, but you will see as I work on the layout. So I used a little bit of wet glue. Again, that one's overlapped. So I'm just trying to figure out what I want to put the bottom here. I knew that I couldn't use the blue or the plaid, so I was looking. I ended up deciding to go with the stripes because I think that was kind of, it was either that or the blue kind of plaid from the other side of that floral, and I didn't like that. I felt like it didn't go with the layout at all. But this little bit of stripe is okay. And when it sits down, you can see, it just works out. This is a great layout. You could use this layout for scraps of any kind. It just really worked out. I was trying to see if I had any left over that I could matte this little photo with, but I end up deciding not to matte it. I didn't want it to stand out super stand out when the other photos were bigger. I just kind of, the sketch does call for this smaller photo here, so I was okay not matting it. But then I'm going to use some more of my Sway peel-offs. Again, there is a link below to these if you are interested, and again, I apologize for my nice COVID hair. I am going to discover, however, here, I didn't realize that these Sway peel-offs actually have different sizes. So I thought it was all just the one size across the whole sheet, but apparently there's different sizes of the Sways on this sheet, which was really cool. I was looking to see if I had another Sway one because I needed another bigger piece to finish off the bottom. But what I did was just luckily I saved the pieces that I cut off from other ones, and I just make it work. Do I need one or two? I can't remember. But I ended up spanning the rest of the bottom of the layout. Yep, it's just the one extra one. So definitely save the extra pieces, and they stay on those sticker sheets just fine. So just pushing them down, and you can see in the end photos at the end up close, they just really add something to the layout. And I know I say that all the time, but I'm just loving how they went with this collection really well. Now I'm going to add the photo, and originally I was planning on adding my journaling to the left of that photo in the bottom, but I'm not going to do that, and I will talk about that in a little while as to why I didn't do that. So I really, with this layout, I want to use these stickers, everything that I can. There was a vase of flowers and a can of flowers, and I probably could have spread those around the layout, but honestly, I kind of liked the way that they tucked together along the right side there. So I just decided to go ahead and put them both there. I definitely wanted to use the birdie. You guys probably no surprise there, so I'm playing around with it. I thought I could even use those boots, but I don't believe those boots make it on there. Yeah, here I went. Sorry for my squeaky chair. I'm not used to doing the voiceovers in my room. I think I've mentioned that before, but I just didn't like, I don't know why I didn't like the boots. I think I couldn't get these flowers to look very good around them. There was a lot of these little flowers left on the page, and I knew that I wanted to use them on this page because obviously it's a page about the lilac that I found for my backyard. This is a Tinkerbell lilac, and I'd never seen one before, and I was so excited when I saw it. I bought it, not even having anywhere that I knew I was going to plant it in my backyard. So luckily I found somewhere to put it, and my mom discovered that she has one in her yard too, so that was pretty cool. Anyways, I'm adding another cluster here on the bottom left. You can't see those flowers as well, but you still can see them. They're not as visible on the video, just like always. It's easier to see them in person. And I am adding some foam tape behind some of each of the elements. I added it behind the word hello, and the word spring is flat to the page, and behind at least one or two flowers in each of the cluster there is some foam tape. I added foam tape underneath this birdie. I thought that would help him pop off a little bit. And now I'm going to use up some of the word stickers. I'm going to add some of those into each cluster too. And this little birdie's going to look like he's kind of standing on this cluster. Now his little tail goes off the edge of the layout just a hair, but I'm not going to trim it up until I go to put it in the page protector. And if it won't go in with his tail like that, I will cut the tail. But at this point, I don't want to cut his little tail. Does that make sense? So I'm going to leave it for now. Just adding, again, playing around with more of these flowers. Now, I mentioned I wanted to do my journaling to the left hand of that small photo. It would have been the perfect place. It might even be where the sketch called for. At this point, you know me, I start out with the sketch to find where I want my photos to go and to find where, you know, maybe background papers, things like that. But I usually don't look at them much after that. But when I printed, and I was also thinking of doing journaling strips as well. But when I was looking at the layout and thought that I was completely done, I realized that I hadn't covered up where the two floral pieces meet on the left-hand side. I was thinking I was just going to leave it and not let it bother me, but then I am going to end up printing my journaling, and it kind of tucks under there really well, and it looks really good. So you will see that when I get to that point. But also, I decided to try one of these tab stickers up here, and I thought right away that it was not going to work at all up here, that it would just be kind of wonky, and that does make it an even number of clusters. So I left it up there. I actually kind of really liked that it kind of brought something to the top of the page. I did try something maybe at the bottom just to see if I could still make it an odd number of clusters, but nothing worked. So pay attention, and there is an even number of clusters on here, and it still looks really good to me. So here's where I tried something at the bottom, and it probably would have looked okay, but I didn't like it and I didn't want it on there. So again, I'm just trying to use up every tiny last little sticker that I absolutely can, knowing that this is my last layout. I literally don't think I have any. Okay, I do have a little bit of striped pattern paper left over and a couple scraps of the other ones, but other than that, there's like nothing left. So going to add my date sticker, or excuse me, my date stamp. And in the still shot photos in the end, you can see where I added my journaling underneath that area. And I also, again, used a pink, a blue, and a white. Maybe I didn't, oh, no, you're right, that's right. This time I decided just to add the petite posies into the middle of all the big flowers, and it looks so sparkly in person. I really like how it turned out. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. I will have a recap video coming up next, and I will see you then. There you can see the picture with the journaling. Hope you had a great time. I will see you next time. Bye.